All right, everybody, welcome back to the Move Podcast. Hey, before we jump into episode 6 here and talk about 2004, which was really fucking epic for us, obviously the year where we had the chance to break the record of 5 tours, win the 6th. We're going to talk about the Cobbled section, which I had never done in the tours. We're going to talk about the team time trial, which was always one of my favorite days and something that we always excelled at. But before we jump into that, we have yet another PowerDot ambassador, a special one today. But Higgs and I already decided going into this that Brooke is our favorite already. I mean, just a ton of spice and vinegar. Brooke Ence is here with us today. Brooke, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Listen, sorry to cut you off. I'm just so anxious and excited. I want to start on a more serious note. And I mean, this is serious because I have one in my garage. I want to know, how many pull-ups can you do?
Oof. Right now? Are we talking like strict pull-ups? Because that's, CrossFit. We do a couple different variations. So
that's right. In CrossFit, they do I forget what it's called, but then they're different than regular pull-ups.
Kipping.
Yeah, that's what they're called.
Regular strict pull-ups, I could probably do right now 20.
Are you kidding me?
Maybe not. I might be pushing it a little bit. Let's actually cut it down to like 15.
So, and we're talking pull-ups, not chin-ups.
Yeah, pull-ups. I'll say this. The most I could do, like before I had surgery, was probably around like 20 to 23, 24. Now it's probably a lot closer to like 12 to 15.
But that is just and I'm not lying. I mean, I could take the Zoom out there and show you. I mean, if I got 7 in, I'd be so excited. Am I lame, or is that?
No way, you're not lame. I mean, they're hard as shit. Pull-ups are tough. And that's actually something that I don't do often enough, probably because of COVID and quarantine. And I don't have a pull-up bar at my house. But no, you should be proud of 7. You should be proud of pushing that to failure at all.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll feel better about myself tonight. I was starting to feel a little inferior, but I'm good. So you've had quite the, growing up, quite the career, growing up in Southern Utah, into dance, then find CrossFit. But as I study your life, which is what I do when I do these things, and then the way you have transitioned all of this into, helping train Wonder Woman and being in Wonder Woman and on the Fox show and all, who'd have thought?
Yeah, I didn't. I 100% thought I would be on Broadway or like dancing professionally. Because I grew up dancing. I grew up playing sports too. I swam the swim team. I did gymnastics. I played softball competitively. Went to college. I danced. And then I basically just kind of like found CrossFit in a way to prepare for a dance audition that I was going to be doing that had a lot of like physicality to it that I wasn't familiar with. And I really enjoyed it. I was an athlete all grown up. I've always had a very natural athletic build. So it was cool to be in a place where you were kind of celebrated for being strong and being a female, and you celebrated performance and not just like looks. So I really gravitated towards that. And even then I wasn't doing it full time. I wasn't doing it like professionally. It wasn't until I found it in 2009. And then I started deciding I was going to train to see how good I could get in 2013. And I competed at a regional 2014. And then 2015, I won my region, went to the CrossFit Games, and I had 2 first place finishes my rookie year at the CrossFit Games. So I did not expect what I do for work or the business that I'm in. I never went after that. That was never why I was like focusing on CrossFit, but it's pretty amazing how a lot of great stuff can come from just being dedicated to something that you really, really love. So
yeah, you were ahead. I mean, the sport ended up becoming a massive platform, not just on for the everyday person that went down to the gym, but as an actual sport, totally blew up. One of our best buddies, Dylan Casey, who I raced with I like to give him shit because he never made the tour team, but he was on our team, went on to be a fantastic tech guy in Silicon Valley and is now in New York. But he took me to a CrossFit workout once and I was like, oh man, I don't know. And I got there and it was fortunately, it was one of these days where there was a running element and, there's like me and him and there's some other dudes like bowing up and there's like some old ladies. And then and I said, Brooke, I'm telling you, I fucking destroyed these people. Dylan Casey has never recovered. I absolutely killed these people. Look at that. Do you see that?
I do.
I mean, the running part, I mean, we did some swings and we did some other things. But the running part, I just smoked them.
I wouldn't think that you would do anything different than smoking all those people in that class, especially anything to do with cardio.
Yeah, for me, that was the great equalizer. So, this Wonder Woman lady, so she's Israeli. I'm so fascinated by this. I've been to Israel a couple times and I really enjoyed it, but I don't think most people know that Wonder Woman is Israeli. I think that's kind of dope, to be honest.
Yeah.
Is she cool?
She's very cool. So I didn't train Gal, and I didn't see her a lot really at all in the gym. She brought in her own trainer that she trained with. I would occasionally run into her though, just on set, but I will say, cause there were a lot of big name actors and actresses on the show. This was my first time acting in anything. So like, I really had no idea who people were. I definitely treated everyone as equals but she was, as famous as she was, as the role she was playing. I met her like one time. We exchanged names, and every time after, she remembered my name. And like, that was a really big deal for me because I meet a lot of people and I have a hard time remembering names, and I can't even imagine how many people she meets, but that showed me a lot of who she was and her character as a person, that she cared enough to acknowledge me, to introduce herself, and then continue to remember me throughout the filming when all of us were barely on screen together. There's so many people around, and she was so much cooler than I could have ever expected. That's
admirable. I thought the 20 pull-ups was cool. The name thing, I know your name is Brenda, but most people I can't remember. I have name amnesia. It is embarrassing, and it's every New Year's Eve. It is my resolution, and you can look up online. There's all these tricks. Oh, you say their name 5 times, or you associate it with something, and I completely suck. And so the fact that the Wonder Woman, maybe that's one of her skills, or something.
Memory.
Is like remembering names.
I cannot remember names. I'm just like my dad, same thing. I remember growing up and you'd go somewhere and someone would come up to my dad and like talk to him, have a full on conversation, talking about something they did together. And then he leaves and my dad would go to my mom, I do not know who that was.
Yeah.
That's me 100%. It's like, I can remember your face and I cannot for the life of me remember your name.
Yeah. Well, my name's, just so I'll remind you later I'm Larry. And so Larry Armstrong. Anyways.
Yeah, that makes sense. You look like some guy I think I heard about years ago, but.
Yep. Many moons ago. You heard a lot. A lot of people heard a lot, but most of it true. So, and now you're just involved in a whole bunch of other stuff. Obviously, the PowerDot connection and being an ambassador for them. By the way, it says on the damn bio, 1.4 million followers on Instagram. What?
Yeah.
Well, no wonder you're an ambassador. I would want you as my ambassador too.
Tell you what, though, getting past that is tough. I'm not sure what people need to see from me now. I guess I need to figure out how to, be more funny.
I don't know. I've been stuck at like 330,000. I say the same thing. I'm like, do they need to see the pelota?
Yeah.
Would that get me to 1 million? Like, I have millions and all these other things in Insta. Maybe it's just like being an old gray-headed dude. Young people are like, nah, no, I'm not going to watch him. But in all seriousness, so now you're a total entrepreneur. You got the You got the Ence-wear, you got the skincare line. I mean, you're just into everything, right?
Yeah, I have Ence-wear, skincare, and then I've partnered with a lot of my sponsors. It started out as sponsorships, and it's grown into like a partnership, which is really great. I always kind of thought, like, when I really started speaking to businesses or, different sponsors that would come my way, I really didn't give a shit what you could give me right now. I wanted to know what we could have 10 years down the road. And if you didn't see us having a relationship like that, then I didn't want to work with you. And that's really worked to my advantage over the years, as far as being able to make relationships that just matter a lot more than what numbers on a check, and has been able to make sure I have the correct people around me to help other ideas I have kind of come to fruition. And yeah, and Naked Training Program. You were talking about that earlier. It is a fantastic program, by the way. Definitely will it'll get your pull-up count up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I need to that's not the Naked Training Program, is it?
Naked Training Program. Nakedtraining.app is the website.
Wait, okay, hang on a second. So, because I know what, obviously, I know what naked means, but and I know what training means, but I have no idea. I mean, I can imagine that might get your followers up to millions and millions. So walk me through Naked Training.
So for a long time, people were always messaging me about, like, if I would program for them or code, send them programming, or if I was going to launch something. And I was like, I would love to do it, but I don't have time to do that. And if I'm going to do something, I definitely don't want to have bad reviews. So I waited for a very long time. My partner on the program, Jake Hutton, is incredible. And he was talking to me about it. And I thought about it for a little. I called him up and I was like, let's do it. So I had always had this idea of, like, because it's this look good naked, right? It's like sometimes you're fit, but you want to feel good with your clothes on, but feel good with your clothes off. And so it's the Naked Training Program. And we launched with an ebook first. We did a big, transformation challenge. We've launched a couple ebooks since. We have the Peaches program, which is focusing on your butt and legs, but it does full body training as well. And we did the Naked Light for people, because the Naked Training Program is serious. I mean, it is not for people that don't want to work hard. It will fuck you up. And we're in the process of actually working on the app and make the interface able. So anyone who signs up, you actually have access to all of our programs and not just whichever one you specifically sign up for. So we're in the process of trying to figure out how can we give them more for the same price point, just to make it more valuable and really to have more people using it more long-term. And I think the biggest thing is to give them options. And so they can choose to stick to one program, or if they're bored of it, they can just jump to something else, but they're not having to go like email in and change their program or anything like that. So that's what we're working on right now, which will hopefully happen relatively soon. And then working on launching nutrition as well, because we give nutrition help, but we don't do one-on-one nutrition.
Right. So we get a lot, not a lot, but we get, we say the bad words on the show. And so at some point, some of the listeners and viewers sent us it's a cuss jar. It actually says a cuss jar. And we were just catching up before we started, and first couple minutes, that bomb came out. I was like, oh my God, I think I love this girl. So we, as a special gift, we'll send you a cuss jar. So every time you say a bad word, you have to put, I don't know, $0.25 or $1, whatever in. So we'll send you a cuss jar. But on a more serious note, how are you? I think we've all sort of freaked out rightfully so, during the whole COVID pandemic. I think it's hard for a lot of people to stay motivated, from a physical fitness standpoint. What's been your experience? How are you managing and navigating that?
It was tough. It was especially tough the first probably 3 weeks or so, because here in Santa Cruz, it was rainy and cold and dark. So not only were the gyms shut down, but you really weren't training outside, and then you had no motivation, and I lived pretty much by myself. So then you start spending a lot of time alone, a lot of solitude, and for me, I really, maybe because I've been through a few injuries, so I've kind of had some chances of like dealing with like mental toughness, or when you are dealing with like low motivation, I kind of had to just let it happen for a little while. And then as soon as the weather started to get better, Motivation was still pretty low, but I could get myself to just go outside. If I could get outside, go for a run, or do any sort of exercise outside, that started to sort of get the ball rolling, and it started to get a whole lot better. But it's definitely, I let people know all the time too. It's not just, it's everyone. It's people that live and breathe fitness. It's hard. It's been hard for everyone to stay motivated to train. Because for me, I kept thinking to myself, like, what am I doing it for? I was training for a competition right before this all happened. I had agreed to compete in a competition that's a sanctioned event to go to the CrossFit Games. I was not trying to qualify for the CrossFit Games. They were just doing an event that was in San Diego, California. They wanted to have it kind of be the vibe of the 2015 regionals, which that's where I won. And they wanted to bring back a lot of people. And so they invited me to go. I was training for that. I was in this really great routine. And then COVID hit. And it was for me, it was I could do something, but I'm not going to go and kill myself. For what? What am I training for? And it took me a while to get over that, and then just start getting back into moving and training every day, because I felt better. I was more productive. My mood was better. So
always. So just for all you creeps out there, because Brooke just told you, and you see Brooke, she just told you she lives in Santa Cruz and basically lives alone. So all you creeps, I'm just going to tell you right now, she will kick your ass. So don't be getting on any planes thinking, oh, let's go find Brooke in Santa Cruz. I'm telling 20 pull-ups at a minimum, she will destroy you. So just turn around. I'm just telling you. I mean, I wouldn't go.
Yeah, it's a huge mistake.
See, say no more. That's fucking amazing. All right, before I go, I want to talk.
Super redneck. We do things,
Yeah, and she's a redneck. Yeah,
the right amount of redneck.
That's right. I got that. I got some of that. So before we split, tell me. I've just full disclosure. I did this mountain bike race yesterday, and I'm almost 50. This I had 5,000 vert. And I opted for the hardtail as opposed to my full suspension. And it just kicked my ass. When I got off the bike, I was like, dude, you are 50 years old. My low back was completely nuked. I've been on the PowerDot basically every minute since then. It is the only thing that I found to sort of heal or try to, or in a way, reverse the effects of being just an old fart. Talk to me about your experience with PowerDot and how that's been.
The first time I experienced using PowerDot in general was I was at a competition, and in the middle of a workout, up through my neck seized up, and it was locked up and seized up, and I came off the floor, and I didn't really know why. I mean, later on, we learned that there was a deeper issue that I had no idea I had a problem with, but the only thing that could work to give me any sort of relief or to get my muscles to relax was a TENS unit. It was something that wasn't going to be someone just basically pushing and hitting and digging into my muscles. It's so much more of a almost less invasive yet long-term approach to healing or dealing with injuries or soreness or problems. And it is the only thing that I've found, because stretching, I've danced my whole life. I've been active my whole life. I get sore. I have tendonitis. I deal with all that stuff. And foam rolling and stretching, it's really not going to do that much for you. The problem is we have muscle that we have now broke down muscle tissue. No amount of foam rolling or stretching is going to fix that. It's time. So really all we can do is try and increase blood flow and deal with inflammation. And I already am really mobile. I don't need to stretch out. The PowerDot makes it super easy for me to throw that on, increase blood flow without having to go out and move or do anything. Traveling a lot, you deal with pain. For me, I deal with pain in my knees or my hips from sitting in an airplane. It is literally a no-brainer for anyone that deals with any sort of pain. And it's not just someone who's an athlete. My dad just retired. He's a rancher now, but I was just home and he was dealing with this really bad pain in his back. And I'm like, Dad, have you used your PowerDot that I gave you? And he's like, well, I couldn't figure out how to put it on. I'm like, oh my God. So I literally sat him down. I pull it out. I show my mom. I put it on his back. I put it up on his trap. And then we did it in 2 different spots. I made sure my mom could see how to get it going. And it was, I mean, he had complained about his back for like 2 days. And I'd come home and he'd be sitting with like his neck swing on, like hung up in the door, like trying to increase some,
kind
of like relax your neck. He'd been doing that, no relief. And then he finally used the PowerDot, which I wish he would have just told me, hey, can you show me how to use this? And the biggest issue is one of the pads, it comes with the 2 different units.
Sure.
One wasn't connecting, but that he finally had relief, and he was preparing to go in for a procedure, and he was needing to not be able to take any ibuprofen or anything like that at a certain point. So he was a little bit worried that, he was just going to be in like serious pain with like a pinched nerve, and he wasn't. And it's for everybody. It's not just for people that are high level athletes. It's for anyone, as we get older, even if you sit at a desk all day or you're standing a lot, like anyone that's going to have any sort of tightness or pain, it's such an easy thing to have. And it could not be more like perfect for traveling or in your purse, in your car. It doesn't take up a bunch of space. You can charge it really easily. Yeah, I love it. And I love the guys at PowerDot. I've been working with them for a long time. And I was very excited to find out that you were going to start. You were coming on.
There we go. So now, Wonder Woman, you just admitted it. You just speed up time too. Like you're just having like some shit dinner with some creep and you're like, dude, I need to speed up time. And so you also have that skill. That's just awesome. We got the best of the blue train talking about 2004. This entire series is brought to you in conjunction with our good friends at PowerDot. They are just absolutely crushing it. They got their Strava challenge going on over there. I know I'm participating. I haven't seen George do very much. Up over 400,000 participants, just crushing. I'm also joined somewhere in Belgium with quite the look today. Not in Belgium, in Spain. Johan Brunel. He's got the Belgian. I was so staring at that funky hat. I kept thinking about Belgium. And then
it's because I'm going bike riding afterwards with my son, so I have my cycling gear on already.
And we also
already in the evening,
we couldn't help but notice that shirt as you got up a second ago. That was quite something.
Look at this, huh?
No, we see it. Everybody sees it. Over in Austin, Texas, JB Hager, and over somewhere where the internet hardly ever works in South Carolina, George Hincapie. George, are you even working out anymore?
I had a project this weekend with my boys. So no, I did not ride this weekend. I'm falling behind. The Lance Challenge.
Okay. Yeah. That's all right. I got you. Before we jump into a little business, so just top level, we're going to talk about 2004. Guys, before we break down exactly the 2 stages, for me, it was huge, right? It was the opportunity. There was so much talk about, a few guys having won 5 tours. I had won 5 in 2003. This was my chance to break the record. And so it had all kinds of complicated stages, including the stage, the cobblestone stage, which, I'd never done really in the tour. And then, of course, we'll get into the team time trial, which they threw a little wrench into our plans, they being the organizers. They basically just changed the rules of the game. Like, if you're the New England Patriots and you've won a bunch of Super Bowls, every time you score a touchdown, it isn't 7 points. It's not 6 points anymore. It's now 2 points. So, because this shit's getting boring, and we just want to change the game. But that's what they did to us. We'll get into that. But before we get to that, today's show, as I mentioned, brought to you by PowerDot. Where is my right here? This thing. I'm training so hard to kick George's ass. I got to use it every day. Improves performance, active recovery, travel friendly. Starts at just $199. 30-day money back guarantee. If it doesn't work for you, send it back. But I'm just telling you, it's going to work for you. Got a couple of other cool interviews with some of their ambassadors coming up as well. Just an awesome product. Go to powerdot.com/themove. Also, for every duo they sell, love the dog. That's awesome. 40 meals for Feeding San Diego, where Eric's wife, whose dog is barking? Today's show also brought to you by Roka. You might notice that I have new readers on today. I don't know if they're clear, so maybe you can't see them. I left my damn faithfuls and my favorites over at somebody's dinner party the other night, and I can't get them back. So I had to go to the clears. Good news is these are still 2.0s. Started by athletes, for athletes, based in Austin, Texas. They're completely badass. Best lens I've ever worn. Oh, yeah. The Matador. I got a lot of comments about my Matadors in my Instagram post yesterday, which there were really two comments, George, in the Instagram post from my group ride yesterday. One was that I am no longer looking prosperous. And two, a lot of people said that the Matadors look a hell of a lot better on Justin Williams than they do on me, which I am actually fine with both of those statements. So 25% off to our listeners for your first purchase. Go to roka.com/themove. Lastly, before we get into it, also today brought to you by Ventum. You might have seen in that post. I've been riding. It's over my left shoulder. It might be the right side of your screen. Their new NS1 road bike. Dude, the thing is a rocket ship. 30-day money-back guarantee as well. No questions asked. Lifetime warranty. First customer support. Financing available. When you think about it, right? I mean, you're spending, these aren't your $800 bikes anymore. Like people rode when they made shirts like Johan's wearing currently. I love this thing. By the way, you won't see a cable on it. It is so clean. Official bike partner of the Ironman. Go to ventumracing.com/themove and also register to win this exact bike, that exact paint scheme. Also on that, I should have given him some photo. Dia, the founder and the CEO of Ventum, was on that ride. He's the one who took that picture. So Dia, dude, I'm so sorry I didn't give you photo cred. So not cool of me. Fellas, 2004 was a monster year for all of us. We were just debating before we went live here when the blue train was better, right? And even though in 2005 the jerseys changed, I think people still referred to us as the blue train. When were we better? 04 or 05?
A lot of people have asked what was the best overall lineup.
To me, it was, I don't know. And you'll see here in these Cobbled stages and the really one of the main actors in the Cobbled stage, aside from assuming his internet holds up, Mr. Hincapie, was Viatcheslav Ekimov, who, for you old school cycling fans, I came into the sport and he was already a god. This was a guy who won gold medals on the track, and then he switched over to the road. He was just, his aura was just like, holy shit, Ekimov. Like
we could tell Ekimov stories all day long. That's for sure. He's a legend of the sport.
He is an absolute legend. He was one of the greatest teammates of all time, completely loyal, committed, hardworking, selfless. It's just the dude's a legend. So, but for me, leading in to these Cobble stage, I was scared shitless. I was absolutely scared to death. And so many things can go wrong. Forget the crashes, just a simple mechanical, which of course happened to me in 2010. It could end your tour. And so for those who've never been in that position, there's really two races, right? There's the race to get to the cobbles, which we're going to see. And then there's the actual cobble section itself. But you could argue, and George, you know these cobbled things better than anybody. You got to be there. You can't, maybe not first, but you got to be in the first 10 or 20. Otherwise,
well, I'm happy to get a little screen time going, because the last 3 or 4 shows we've done has only been the last climb of the day, which we all know was not always my strong suit. So I'm happy that we're talking about some cobblestone stages and team time trial, which is also one of my favorites.
Exactly. I mean, go ahead, JB. Sorry.
Now, something I'd love to know, and this is more directed at Johan, is now you've it's such a proven team, right? 5 wins behind you. What was it like recruiting talent going into this year, to 04 versus, the first couple, 99, 2000? I mean, you was it easier to get whatever talent you wanted? I need good climbers. I need guys to ride the cobbles. I need to build out the perfect team time trial. Was it just so much? Yeah. Did you have people wanting to be on this team much more than ever?
Yes, absolutely, JB. It became a little bit easier, but not so much because of course we were a team that people wanted to be on, but at the same time we were always looking for better and better riders. So of course they were more and more expensive. So it was kind of evened out. But yeah, I mean 2004 was an amazing team. Very difficult to do better. We were debating whether 2004, 2005. There were a few changes. Some people left in 2004, and then some people came. But it was by far one of the best teams in the Tour de France history, I think. And the team time trial, for example, will prove that in my opinion that's the best team time trial we've ever done. We won in 2003, we won in 2004, and also 2005, but this was the most dominant victory. So 2004 was an amazing year.
It's amazing you remember. I didn't even remember that we did a team time trial in 2005. This is so, it's awesome. But the other thing, just from if you, Johan, and you'll remember this, and we always used these things as our own little inside and personal motivation. So think about this: if you're trying to break the record, you're trying to win the sixth, the critics out there and our competitors were like, he was at the top of his game in 01. 02 was an easier tour, but he even looked like he was not as strong. 03, he showed a ton of weakness. So they're just working this trend and trajectory going, he's too old, he's past his prime, and he'll never break the record. And coming in, I was like, I was completely healthy. I had no physical, I had no issues. And I'm like, okay, this is as best as I've been in a long time. But the buzz was, he's past his prime. And maybe the gods of cycling have set out to say that nobody will ever break that record. And so, yeah, it was there was a lot of buzz, which meant a lot of motivation for us.
Yeah, for sure. Also there were some guys from our team that went to be the leaders of other teams. So obviously, whatever we have done in terms of planning and preparation, training, they took on to other teams, and other teams started to imitate our way of preparing for the Tour de France. So I think it was kind of logical thinking that they said, okay, Lance may be over his top, and nobody has done ever better than 5. So this year is the year. It was not the year. 2004 was definitely your year.
Well, not only that, Lance, but being that it was potentially going to be your 6th Tour de France win, every year I saw it personally firsthand that you got more and more requests, more and more strains on your time, especially during the off season, and became a lot more popular, especially here in the United States. So the demands on your time were higher than ever, and it was always, for me, like pretty impressive to see how once the time to get ready for the Tour de France came in the spring, it was like didn't matter where it was, how much money it was, like you were going to be somewhere in a training camp, training your ass off. So for us, it was almost easier in the sense that nobody really gave a shit what we were doing. We were just out riding our bikes and trying to get ready for the tour. But you definitely had a lot more demand on your time, especially 2003, 2004, that in order to prepare properly for the tour, you had to really shut down a lot of things, and usually did that great job with that.
It's a good point, George. And in this whole, in the vein of just sort of everybody overanalyzing, not just myself, but the team. I went through a divorce in the fall of 2003, was in a new relationship 2004, which was very high profile. So it was just all of these things, people going, he's over the hill. He's distracted and stressed from going through a divorce and et cetera, et cetera. So, it just all piled up. But it was so, I do remember this, just looking back going, all right, motherfucker, so you watch this. By the way, Johan, these people who left the team to go lead other teams, at the end of the day, they're still pannekuchen, so that didn't matter, right? We were still worried. We were worried about who we were worried about.
I agree.
Yeah, total pannekuchen. Grote pannekuchen, as they say. Big pancakes in Belgium.
Okay.
No, I think
let me put the record straight about the word pannekuchen. Okay, so because
I thought it means wait. It means pancake.
No, pannekuchen is pancakes. It's pannekoek. Single.
Okay. Well, they were still okay. Well, then I back up. Whatever. They were pannekoek.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever.
They were pannekuchen.
They were panakuka.
Singular versus plural.
If anybody is sending us critique about our Flemish and the way we say pannenkoek or pannenkoeken, then I will.
Well, it's an important point. I mean, we're doing the T-shirt, right? So is it going to be pannenkoek or pannenkoeken?
No, it needs to be pannenkoek. So it needs to be PANNEKU with an umlaut and a K. Pannenkoek.
I guarantee you.
We are not making that T-shirt. There is nobody going to buy that T-shirt. McGinty will. McGinty is Matt McGinty is the only person in the world who will buy that T-shirt, and he is listening right now.
I think you're wrong. I think we should do the T-shirt. Let's ask our listeners.
I think it should say "You are a pannenkoek."
Okay.
Hey, wait! I want to add something to that because I think George brought up a very good point that and it may be a little touchy to go there for you, Lance, but the demands on your time. You're running a foundation that's high profile. I think it was about this time you were meeting with politicians constantly to get funding for cancer research, and basically playing both sides of politics, Republican, Democrat, getting anyone's attention. That I just remember that being a very, very busy time doing that in the off season.
Well, we were hitting our stride at Livestrong, and you'll see, and I'm glad you brought this up, JB. This is the first appearance of the yellow wristband, 2004. This was the year that Nike came to us in anticipation and potentially in honor of winning a sixth. They said, let us help you raise $6 million. And for those who don't know the backstory, this is it. They thought, that was an amazing idea. They said, we'll start with $1 million donation and we'll make 5 million yellow wristbands. You guys can wear them, we'll sell them for $1. And if you sell them all, you'll raise $6 million. And I looked at these people, I said, you're fucking crazy. There's nobody going to wear that thing. I mean, we'll wear it because we kind of have to wear it. But I thought it was crazy. Right? I mean, George, you're probably like, damn, we got to wear this thing. Ugh. People thought we actually, and I swear to God, at the tour, people said, oh, did you guys stay at a hotel where it was like all inclusive? Did you forget to take this off? This got you into the hotel. This got you your meal. This
pina
got
coladas.
Your free poolside pina coladas. Yeah, but it was the kickoff of just go back and think about that, right? If we did sell 5 million of them, went on to sell about 100 million of them worldwide. But before that, these rubber bands, wristbands were nowhere. And now they're everywhere, every color, every cause, every effort to raise money and bring awareness to things. So it was cool to be on the, we were sort of the, rubber band pioneers in a lot of ways.
I think by the middle of the tour, 75% of all the other teams had them on.
A lot of people, and you'll see in some of these images. Yeah, the peloton was very generous with the effort and wore the bands, and so Nike was also one of the sponsors. They were the sponsor of the yellow jersey, so they had some reach.
Got a visitor.
Oh, hi, Max.
I was just going to add, I remember at the gala, which again, one of those other things that he's doing in his off season, handing out that first batch of, I think it was a couple thousand of the wristbands, having no idea that there would eventually be, millions and millions and millions of those going out.
Let's jump in. Let's jump into this stage here. It was stage 3 of the 2004 tour from Waterloo to I'll probably mess up this name. Waskiel. How do you say that, Johan?
Waskiel.
Waskiel. And after we do this stage, we will talk to you about 2 new partners, and one of which is Waterloo. So I just think it's just so damn perfect. We're talking about a stage that started in Waterloo, and now we're going to talk about the coolest new sparkling water. But we'll talk about that later. So, mind you, 210 kilometers was this stage. 210 is, if you look at the tours of this day and age, you don't see a lot of stages that are 210. I mean, they've really shortened the stages, and 210 is on a hot day. And stage 3, man, by the way, everybody going in, you're thinking everybody's fresh. Here we go. This is where this is the nerves. This is just nerves.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting when I started watching it to refresh my memory. There was only 4 kilometers of cobblestones on this stage, only 2 sections, but the stress that those 2 sections brought upon the peloton, because you're virtually assured a crash. Everybody knew there was going to be a crash going into it and perhaps during it. So there was a high stress situation to get into those sectors in the first positions.
And you look, this easily could have been a rainy day north of Europe. It blessed to have a sunny, dry day, which everybody woke up and just thanked their lucky stars.
Yeah. So, here, this is what can happen. This guy's probably obviously out of the race, but the other one is Mayo. Here we have, look, this is Eki and George and Lance coming in the first 3 positions.
I think PowerDot was there too.
Was that? Yeah. But this is obviously, what you have to do. You have to, as a team, we were not racing to win that stage. We were racing to get it to stay out of trouble. So the whole stage for us was focused on, let's get in there first. There's going to be crashes. We don't want to be behind the crash, or that was our race. We didn't care about the result of that stage. And having George and Eki on the team, of course, that's priceless.
I got to be honest. It was a little entertaining because that was the most nervous I've ever seen Lance in the Tour de France. I mean, he was so hyped up. He was yelling at us to be at the front. We're like, bro, chill. We've been here. We know what we need to do. You'll be in the front. Don't worry. But it was a fun stage for guys like Eki and I.
In fact, that's not true. You did not. I would love for you to have said in the bus, yo, chill. We've been here. We got this. You didn't say that. I would have been like, okay, cool.
I said that to myself during the stage. you were definitely stressed out.
So I remember, guys, one of the points of discussion or controversy, let's call it like that, was the fact to see how nervous the bunch is. So when Mayo crashed, or was in that crash before the cobblestones, we had our plan obviously to be in the front on the cobblestones, and there's just no way of slowing down. Or normally you say, okay, you don't race on a crash of one of the favorites, but this was impossible. This was basically impossible to do anything. So we got to the front and just kept racing. Like if we would have said, okay, let's slow down, everybody else would have started to go fast. So here, obviously, in this we are already out of trouble, so that we don't care anymore about the final of the race, because this is for sprinters. But I remember, from my point of view in the car, you guys have no idea how nervous it was in the caravan. Also, going up to that, to those 2 sections, 10, 15 kilometers before, it was mayhem. And everything was building up in the peloton and of course in the caravan also. You always, whenever there's something on radio tour crash, you always, you're nervous of hearing, number 1 or number 5 or whatever, one of your guys, right? Luckily, we didn't have anybody.
And just getting through it without losing time, having any major issues, that's a win. Obviously somebody else is going to win the stage. We'll see, but boy, just the morale in the team at the dinner table, in the bus, it just was a huge relief, plus a huge lift when you just, you get through this thing like, dude, I think we dodged a bullet, even though we were the best.
Lance or Johan, this might be a question more for Johan because Lance doesn't remember anything. Did you guys go recon those sections? Because I know we did not, because we knew those sections well. They're part of Paris-Roubaix. But I was curious if Lance and you guys and Johan did go check out their approach and actually the cobblestone sections.
No, Lance did them. No, for sure we did them. We always did all the crucial stages.
No, I believe you, but I have no recollection of that. It's amazing.
Yeah. No, you did them. You did them, and and this stage obviously it's for a part of staying out of trouble. This is for the team. It was the first time in the Tour de France where we actually had to show our strength as a team. And although it may seem insignificant, but having the first 4 riders of the Tour de France going into the cobblestones was kind of a statement. Also, it's like, hey, we're here, and even on the flats and on the cobblestones, we're here to protect our leader. So I do remember also, Lance, that after that stage, the morale of the team was super high.
And how many days after this, because we're going to go to the TTT in a minute, but how many days remind me, since I, again, don't remember anything, how many days after was the TTT on?
The day after.
There you go. I have the best. That is amazing. It was the very next day. I have no fucking recollection.
Yeah, well, I mean, by definition, a team time trial is also always in the first 4 or 5 stages because,
of course,
I do know that. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, let's look at the race at least. If you see, I mean, I don't even remember. Oh yeah, this guy Nazon won the sprint. So this is Gerald Steiner leading it out for Hondo, I think. Mm-hmm. And they have McEwen was in the green jersey, and he was gonna get yellow if he was in the first 3 because Husov was in the crash. Husov was leading, was yellow jersey before that stage, and so McEwen is gonna get beat on the line by this guy here, by Nazon.
Look at all the Belgian flags back there. That is so cool.
The Flemish, it's the Flemish flags.
That too. Yeah, the Flemish flag.
Like you said, Johan, you don't see that very often. Where we got through the dangerous part of the stage for us, but you saw we're not even in the picture there because our day was done. We had known the finish was not that technical. At that point, it was okay. Let's try to recover for tomorrow's crucial stage.
Can we call up our special guest? Johan? Is he ready?
Yeah.
I mean, it's Viatcheslav Ekimov, so he's always ready. I mean, my experience with this man was he's always ready, so surely he's just sitting there ready. Nothing's changed.
Eki,
look.
Ekimov.
Hey, guys. How are you?
He's got this
look at this U.S. Postal shirt.
Wow, that is.
Oh, man.
And by the way, it is still very white and clean. How did you pull that off, Eki?
That's completely new. I found it because you remember me, guys. I was never asking for many clothes, or because I wasn't enough to have one T-shirt, one bib shirt for the whole Tour de France. I swear to God, I found this brand new 2 days ago in my garage in St. Petersburg. I said, okay, I'm going to put it on. Hey, George, how are you?
Good, Eki. How are you?
Jesus, man. Fuck, you never change.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. No gray hair, nothing.
Yeah, and Lance,
I got gray hair. I got gel in it, so it darkens it up when I put gel on it.
Yeah, and look at our boss, Belgium cap. Wow.
Hey, look, Eki, I'm after this I'm going riding with my son, so I'm already in cycling clothes, We do a little night ride. Anyway, Eki, nice to see you, man, and thank you for accepting the request to be our guest today. Really nice to see you again.
No, guys. Thanks to you guys. I appreciate it really because I'm following the other team. I'm following reports and conversations. For me, it's good. I'm very happy to see all friends, my teammates. Lance, Georgie, who behind the scenes there. So, and I'm still feeling like I'm part of the team of a blue train.
You are a forever member. In fact, Eki, you weren't on these other shows, but Johan has had to really kiss ass for a few times because one show he said all he needed was 8 Chechus. And then he had to change, and he said, okay, give me 4 Chechus and 4 Georges. And then we said to him, well, what about Eki? And he said, okay, and then but we were just looking at the cobblestone footage from 2004, whereas if you remember, I was scared to death. The entire peloton was scared to death, as George reminded us. This was second nature for you guys, is between just having the experience and having done Roubaix and Gent-Wevelgems, all the stuff in Belgium. It was sort of, again, second nature for you all. But man, and just watching those images of us coming, as soon as we hit the cobbles, you were first, George was second, I was third. I just said, this is over. I got this. This is, I'm not going to have a mechanical because I can see everything in front of me. I've got the 2 best guys in the race to protect me. And I don't give a shit what's happening behind me. I'm in the catbird seat and I was just sitting on the wheel. It was, not to make it sound easy, but it was certainly stress-free.
Exactly. That was our goal with me, George, and Pavel Parnus. Because I remember we were on the start in Belgium, and I talked to George. I said, George, listen, let's be conservative for the whole day. And once we get to that cable zones area, I mean, it could be like 20 kilometers prior. We have to be in the front. We have to give it up all what we have. And I was saying to myself, I better suffer on wind myself and keep Lance on the wheel instead of being crushed somewhere. A K to go. And so the whole day I was just thinking about this final of approaching to the cable zone. It was, for me, it was even more important or more stressful than a Paris-Roubaix. Because we knew that we're carrying out Lance, we're carrying out our jersey, we're carrying out the final of the Tour de France, and we cannot fuck it up.
No, that was perfect English, by the way.
That's for sure, Eki, because also, wouldn't you agree, Eki? It would have been easier if it was 10 sections, but this was only 2 sections. So you had no room for error, and it was like everybody knew they were coming. We had to be at the front, and like you said, it was up to you and I to get them there. So actually, Johan gave us a little bit of freedom where we made the other guys do the work until 5K to go to the section, and that's when you and I became the guys that go to the front and get Lance there.
And was it, at least to me, if you think about Paris-Roubaix, that is a race for specialists. So you have a lot of guys that have done Roubaix and are there to either win or be on a team that wants to win. And this is the Tour, so when you have all these guys around you who've never been there, so who knows how they're going to act? Who knows how they're going to ride? How comfortable they're going to be as we're fighting for position or getting on the cobbles. So you're kind of riding along with some pannekuchen, and to me it was like, Jesus, just let me stay with these guys who know exactly what they're doing. Get the pannekuchen away from me, and we couldn't have scripted it any better. It was just perfect.
I remember that stage was still situated at the beginning of the race when a big, like you said, big pannekuchen. Sprinters guys are still chasing the yellow jersey, and for sure there was a few interests to carry out. So first of all, GC guys they were curious how they can get through this cable zone. Like Ivan Mayo never probably was never written on it, or some other guys like Roberto Eras or whoever. And then each team or most of the team has a sprinter guy that they have to carry to the finish line because it was a big stage for them to win, and probably was a still chance to grab the yellow jersey. So, and for me, the tension of that stage, it was a real war. Paris-Roubaix is a war, but this was something bigger. And
I think that's right, Eki. Because first of all, you have this situation where there's no specialists. So for us, and you will remember this. This was we were focusing just on one thing, was being in the front, not get caught behind a crash. And then, from then on, once we were out of the cobblestones, I think we were focusing on the day after, on the team time trial already.
Yeah. Hey, before we get into the team time trial, Eki, it sounds like you've followed some of our stuff, but we always say a lot of these stupid things that we said to each other that we probably didn't even think were funny at the time, but then the audience was like, oh, that's really funny. And that's, I love that. And so one of the things that we said years ago and has really stuck with everybody, we've made t-shirts about it, and you're the one who invented it. You are the inventor. And I want everybody to know this. Forget everything else that he ever did in his career. But this man in St. Petersburg, he invented the phrase, seeing the douches.
Yes, seeing the douches.
I hit the cobblestones and I looked around these motherfuckers and I said to myself, seeing the douches. And that is you. You are the founder of seeing the douches.
Well, Okay, I have to believe in you, but I thought it was George who was first saying this this sentence. But okay, anyway, what happened here? So we finished the race, and after we grabbing our race food, I mean a post-race food like a piece of pasta or something like potatoes or something, we go to the shower, and the shower was the first a short like interpoint before we go for a big dinner, a good shower at the hotel, relaxing massage, like real pleasure of the day. So that's why this short sentence, "see you in the shower," was meaning like, okay, guys, I see you soon in the relaxing point, or at the beginning of the relaxing point.
Yep.
So that's why. I mean, it was really funny because we were feeling each other and we were communicating to each other in very short sentence, like "see you in the douches," okay, something like really short but meaning.
It had a lot of different meanings.
Yes, we don't need to explain to each other what does it mean.
It sounds like we owe Eki some money because we've sold a lot of those T-shirts.
Yeah. Hey, I think I saw every day in the cycling news is saying like, okay, we will find it on eBay, something like bike, some jerseys, some this, some that. I think I'm going to be a millionaire soon.
Well, what you could sell that shirt you're wearing, that's for sure.
Okay, help me, guys.
But guys, jokes apart, I think that that was basically the strength of our team. It was by 2004, it was such an automatic machine of guys. Like you see, Lance, George, Eki, Pavel, Chechu. Who else was there? Let's just Acevedo. These guys.
Benjamin.
You guys didn't need to talk to each other. Benjamin Noval didn't need to talk to each other. Everybody knew their job. I've often said, because I don't know if you remember that back then there was also, one of the other things they were trying to limit or sabotage, I would say, was the radio communication, because we were kind of the first team who started with everybody with radios, and then they all said, okay, it becomes too controlled. But I would have loved to see the Tour de France being ridden without radios, because it would have been such an advantage for us, because there was no other team that was more focused on the Tour. It was such an automatic machine.
Yeah,
I like saying even just looking at each other, you guys knew what you had to do.
I like to. It's as if we could finish each other's sentences, right? If it didn't matter the culture, the language, the history, we knew each other so well and had such a bond that if somebody started a sentence, didn't matter where they were from, we could finish the sentence for them. And that's the ultimate in teamwork when you gel like that and come together like that. The other thing that Eki was just a rock star at every year was the team time trial, which is a super technical event. Obviously, you want to go as fast as you can, but and I love the event. I think for the fans and the spectators, either there or at home, boy, seeing 9 guys together with the top technology, the fastest bikes, riding this fluid movement. To me, it's one of the greatest spectacles in cycling. It's fascinating to me that they often don't do it anymore. But I loved the event, except for 2003. I hated it. George told me that I asked him to slow down, Eki, which just about broke my heart. But I want to watch the team time trial from 2004. But before we do that, just a Scotia business, and also, Johan, I'm going to have you explain to the listeners and viewers just how they came in and tried to trick us. And but that's okay. When you got a bunch of guys that can finish each other's sentences, who gives a shit? You adapt, you adjust, and you rise. And so that's what the Blue Train always did. Before that, today's show also brought to you by Waterloo Sparkling Water. I love this stuff. I love it. Waterloo, by the way, was the original name of Austin, Texas. This brand is based in Austin. It's non-GMO, I screw that up every time. Non-GMO, Whole30 approved, free of calories, sodium, sugar, and sweeteners. Only made in aluminum cans that are made with BPA-free liners. Think about that for a second. Think of all the other sparkling waters you have. This one is next level. Bunch of new flavors. We're hearing from a bunch of parents that they're actually weaning their kids off soft drinks. They got a new lemon lime flavor that's supposed to be just kick the hell out of a Sprite. which as a parent of 5 kids, I love the idea of that. Available at Whole Foods, Target, etc. Go down to your local grocery store. Check it out. Waterloo Sparkling Water. This is the grape I'm drinking right now. Also, last one for the day, Oura Ring. We talk about it every week. We love this company. We've invested in it. I don't need to tell you anymore. They are doing such a fantastic job with accurately measuring so many key parameters in the human body. Originally came on the market and got its buzz as a sleep tracking device, but measures so much more: heart rate variability, body temperature, which they're now seeing is actually predicting the onset of COVID in patients all over the world. Respiratory rate, a certain parameter that I just kicked the living shit out of George in, which I just love. I mean, my respiratory rate is so much better than his that I love it. But this thing is you see it right here. That's it. This is the technology is incredible. Go to Oura Ring, OURA ring.com. Or just Google them. You'll see the new initiative they have with the NBA as they roll out the season again. And every player, every staff member, every trainer, every coach wearing the ring, tracking all of these key parameters, making sure that everybody stays safe and healthy. OuraRing.com. All right, let's go to let's look at the team time trial.
Before we start, Lance, let me just give a little background on this event, right? So, team time trial is something that, you know, obviously as a strong team, you and as you know, one of the favorites for the GC, you have to do good in. And you know, we had won the team time trial in 2003 quite dominantly. All the French teams back then were, you know, they lost 3, 4, 5 minutes sometimes. So yeah, pannenkoeken. Yeah, I know. I agree. 2004 was your run for the record. You know, nobody had won more than 5. Our team was stronger. Everybody could see in the lead up in the season, you know, that the team was going to be great. And so the Tour de France, the ASO, had this marvelous idea to they say, okay, we need to limit the strength of the rich teams. That was the idea. You know, that was the explanation. You know, it was not officially, it was not against us, but I am convinced it was against us. But so they had this great idea of saying, okay, the team time trial, we're going to have the event. You know, they're going to go from point A to B, 50 kilometers or 56 kilometers. I don't remember how far, but it's not the real time that's going to count for the general classification. So it was with bonification system. So meaning the winning team had 0. The second team, if the second team lost 1 minute, which is in this case the case because we won the team time trial with 1 minute, 6 seconds, you could not lose more than 20 seconds. Team number 3 in the classification, if they were 1.5 minutes behind, they could lose maximum 40 seconds, and so on and so on. So also the weaker teams, like the French teams, the Euskaltel team was in general, you know, they lost 4 or 5 minutes. They could not lose more than 2.5 minutes maximum. So obviously, you know, this was we were not very happy about that, because if you look at the results in that stage, we would have taken more than 2 minutes on T-Mobile, which was, you know, our biggest rivals. But so this is the, you know, what goes ahead of this event, right? But
that's right. Which, whatever. It's what I love to say about ASO and the tour is it's their game. It's their event. They can, you know, they release the route, the rules. If they say we're going to do 21 days riding around Paris, they can do it, right? And so we're beholden to that. But the way I always looked at the team time trial before this year was it was free money. I mean, I knew that it didn't matter who else the other competitors were when we assessed their teams. In our minds, we just said, okay, Euskaltel, they're going to lose 3 or 4 minutes. Kelme, 3 or 4 minutes. Other teams. And it factored into our calculation, like, this is free time, free money. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they came along, they read our minds. They knew that we were counting on free time, and they changed the rules. I mean, it's kind of a janky rule. But, you know, it's also, you know, speaking about this group of guys, it wasn't as if we sat around in the bus and pouted and said, this isn't fair. It was what it was. We said, all right, let's go do our job. You know, if it's 20 seconds, 40 seconds, a minute, you know what? We'll go get it somewhere else.
Stage
Well,
win, still
yeah,
a stage win.
That's
right.
What was
That's
the
right.
incentive?
That's right. But it for anybody, it really does not make sense. It does not make sense. You cannot have a race from A to B, and all the other stages is the real time, and then in the team time, it's the same thing. Like saying, okay, now guys, instead of because normally it's the first 5 guys that have to come over the line, you have to be 8, or otherwise you lose 3 minutes. That's something. I mean, I just thought it was a stupid rule. Anyway,
and it really doesn't. It just doesn't matter. I think we handled it well. We did our job, and that was then. You don't, Johan, settle down. You don't have to get so worked up about these things. It worked out for us.
I know, but I get worked up about it. You know why? Because for me,
I know why. Because you get worked up about everything. But go ahead.
Because this was the strongest team time trial I've ever seen of our team. And it kind of, we would have gained 2 minutes on. So it kind of, only if then you see, okay, you were supposed to 20 seconds phone knack, 20 seconds. It was, it was not nice.
I don't know if this is,
but anyway,
you didn't design that. We're talking about the 2004 team time trial, but you had that, you rigged up, which is very impressive, that backdrop behind you. It's tough to see through the shirt and the hat that you have on, but you've had the backdrop for most of the shows. That's an image. That's an image from the 2004 Tour de France.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, Eki, you also, before we start the team time trial, you had something to say that we did different, right? And for that day?
Well, so I would like to go back to 2003, which Lance doesn't like to remember. It was the first time we invented the system that I proposed. I said, listen, guys, all the time we go around, we lose the bike. It's not about the speed. It's not about like a recovering time. It's about losing the bike from a pole position. So the length of the bike, it's about 2 meters. I'll calculate in European metrics, okay? So I don't know in inch. So 2 meters, nine bikes, it's 18 meters. If you go with a speed of 60 kilometers an hour, in 1 second, you're gonna be done 15 meters. So it means that we are going over 50, like close to 60. After each turn, we are losing 1 second automatically. No matter what, no matter which speed we have, we're just going to lose because of the distance, because the first bike is always getting dropped. It's 2 meters off, 2 meters off. Okay? If you follow if you're pursuing the line, which is in the front of us, it's like 2 meters gap all the time. And I propose, guys, let's go. Let's try. We're all strong. We're good enough. We're 9 guys. We can pull like between 20 and 30 seconds each on the first position. We'll have more time for recovery. We're not going to lose this 1 second after each lap, after each turnaround, and we're going to win. Even going with the same speed, we're going to win a lot of time. And nobody is doing it. And Laz was asking me, oh, Eki, are you sure? I said, I'm from track racing, I'm team pursuer. And we were battling to have this long pull, like a single line versus a double line. Yeah, we're trying to get like over a lap or even 2 laps on the track with a speed over 65 km/h in the team pursuit. So to have 55 or 57 kilometers an hour on a team time trial on the road race, it's just a piece of cake, for us. For the 9 guys who presented the Blue Train and Tour de France.
Yeah.
The first time in 2003, we won by like more than a minute on the onset team, if you remember that.
Well, I will say this, and I don't remember that, but I don't remember anything. But there were a handful of guys in my career that, and I was a strong-willed, hard-headed guy, but there's a handful of guys, and 3 of them are on this screen right now, that if they said, this is what we're doing and this is why, I just said, okay. I'm not going to argue with Viatcheslav Ekimov. However he rolls it out, however he proposes it, if he wants to do it that way, I go, okay, Eki, that sounds good. Let's do it that way, right? And it just, you weren't going to get any argument out of me.
in 2004, Tricky Beltran, even Tricky Beltran. I mean, the guy who was, I mean, he never was thinking to race a team time trial in his life. Okay, so but he became a member of the team of Tour de France 2004, and this guy was telling me after the race, Eki, esa carrera es muy buena. Ese sistema muy buena. Tricky Beltran. I mean, this guy was liking the system.
Also, you know, I mean, not about this year. The year after, we won again. The fastest team time trial ever in the history of the Tour de France.
Yes,
with Tricky, and Tricky came with everybody to the finish.
I was going to say when Tricky didn't get dropped, he loved the race in the team time trial. I mean, the fact that he can stay in there, but
yeah.
But you gave them pretty clear orders with Tricky and Roberto, our true climbers. It was like, if you get to the front, get off right away. You basically just do the rotation, go straight to the back. Do not spend any time there. Just pass the guy who's in front of you and get the hell out of the way.
Yeah. Well, let's go to the video. Unless you got
I have one other thing to say about this. You know, and it's not great. By then we were such an oiled machine that, you know, when we looked at all the details, we looked at the weather details, and, you know, the first thing was always for us, it's about safety. We have to make sure that we don't have any problems. So I remember that by then we had decided that for the time trials, but especially also for the team time trials, that we would not use time trial tires. Back then, there was a lot of riders who were riding with 20 or 21 for the time trials. And we decided to ride with the normal road tires, 23 millimeters. I mean, nowadays they're at 27, 28. but then, you know, we just were using the normal tires just to be safe, you know, to just not have any punctures. And it turned out to be a great decision because I remember Phonak and CSC, which were our two main competitors for that race. They both had issues with their tires. They had
CSC crashed 3 times. CSC crashed 3 times. And Liberty Seguros crashed 3 times. They had 19 millimeter tires.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just chaotic stage for them.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, you go through all this work, all the hard work, all the preparation, and you let that get in your way. I mean, that's just not, that's, you know, that's a bad idea. Eki, do you have you got the video there? Did we send you the video?
I have it in Dropbox. Yeah.
Okay, good. So here you have Ilias Bayaras, which of course was Benesto, and then Ilias Bayaras, which is, for you current cycling fans, that's Team Movistar. And then there's the blue train. Look at us right there in the rain, which is completely nerve-wracking. But to Eki's point, I mean, this is the single line versus that. Wait, is George Hincapie being featured? George is actually, we're showing.
Back on the screen, baby.
George is on the screen. Look at him.
Yeah. Did you see, George? You were just, I remember at the first checkpoint, we were kind of 4th or 5th. You know, we had, we were starting quite slow, and this was the second point. So you heard, and you were encouraging the rest of the guys. So.
Well, yeah, I think we put Tricky on the front just because we thought he'd have a hard time starting with us. So we made him start at his speed, and of course we were behind the first time check, but we made up for it.
Yeah, so here we have T-Mobile coming in, so they don't have the best time, and this was always our, the guy we feared, Jan.
And again, I mean, this event is completely nerve-wracking. Throw in the weather. I mean, every little thing. All it takes is a slip. But you're coming back. You're tired. You're cross-eyed, and you're coming back in. The tail end of the group, the rotation. And you just any touch of the wheel, and it's over. We had that happen to us in 2000 in the team time trial, and 3 or 4 of us went flying. And so here you see from Team Phonak, when guys get dropped, the other thing too is they have to keep going. You can miss the time cut here if you just sat up and imagine you have your team with still 7 guys going as fast as they can, or us with 9 guys going. You're going to miss the time cut. They will kick you out of the tour.
Yeah. So this is Phonak with Hamilton, who was the leader then. Another Panakuk.
I knew somebody was going to say that. I was going to.
These guys were clear. We're favorites here because of they had some really good time trialists on that team, as was CSC. We can see how far back CSC finishes behind us once they show them.
Yeah.
And a team led by Jim Makowitz, who's his entire career, he was obsessed with the team time trial. Going back to the Motorola days, that was like, that was Oscar Sevilla, still racing professionally in Colombia. Look at the blue train. If you had to pick one image and said, "Holy shit, what does the blue train look like?" Folks, it's right
the one I have on my back.
I mean, and look to me, and again, when you see 9 guys going down the road at 35 miles an hour, all in unison, sharing pulls, it is, to me, it's just a beautiful sight. I don't know why we should do it every year.
Watch how close or how slow CSC goes around this final corner. The reason they went so slow was to not put time on Sastre, who was their Team GC guy. Sastre finishes, he's right there. He finishes 10 seconds off the wheel, but he ends up getting the 2.5 minutes behind us because he's not on the actual wheel of his teammates, which is quite interesting.
I mean, that's just a mistake. That is a monumental mistake. That's just.
But there you see also look at those skinny tires. That was just not a smart decision that day. Interesting.
Bobby Julich has the Camelback on, and he's got it down. And remember, there was a minute where people were putting it on their chest, not on their back, and their chest to fill. And they ended up banning that, but to fill that front void and smooth it out aerodynamically. But here, dude, look at it. Now we're rolling. Okay, right? Time check number 3. We're a minute up. This is it. And we always did this thing too, where the first 3 guys would stay down in the drops and the bars. And then everybody else, as they were in the back recovering and just staying on the wheel, we'd let them stay out on the extensions. But I mean, just makes it more dangerous. The aero bar with 9 guys going 35 miles an hour, anything can happen.
I found this one kind of funny. When we're coming across the line, we know that we're winning. I'll never forget. I went to give you a little fist bump. You're like, "Bro, I ain't taking my hands off the bars and the cobblestones."
No, it was wet, and it was not so much cobbles.
Like I was crazy.
Small cobbles, they were basically bricks, which are very common in towns, in small towns in Europe. And yeah, George wanted to give me. This was before the fist bump. He was predecessor on that. And I was like, I ain't taking my hands off. Yeah. Quick. But you know what? I mean, for me, it was like, I minimized all risks. I didn't, that would have been silly to have one slip up, which of course I would have done. And as we talked about earlier, you saw the yellow band. This was as it, and after, for us, you had the cobbles the day before this day. We're like, we got this. Like, we're looking around at this team, the strength and the depth. There was nobody going to get close to us. And anybody that thought that we had lost it or we're getting over the hill, boy, they were about to be real wrong in 2004. Looking at the guy getting interviewed in the very back on the Diamond Vision, trying to speak French. Here we go. There's another, just freeze that one in your brain. That's the blue train. Minute 7 on Phonak, 1:15 on Bayadas, 2.5 on Euskaltel. But see here to the right, you see how they limited their losses. Eki, did you ever suffer in a team time trial, or were they always just easy for you?
Well, I'll tell you, when we start running the system I propose, I was never suffer. No one single turn I was suffer. But in 2001, 2001, 2002, I was suffer like a dog. I was saying, okay, man, today is a long day. From the event that I love,
Eki, was that like a duck or like a dog?
Dog.
Speaking of that, Eki, I remember you told me a story. You told me a story that your old coach from the Russian team, he used to study the ducks how they were flying and how they were rotating to copy that as a system for the team time trial. You told me that story. Do you remember that?
Well, it was a long time ago. Yeah, guys, sorry to interrupt the conversation now. I saw the images, I saw the footage, and it brought me back to that days. I'm really proud of the things we have done. I'm taking from my heart now. Mm-hmm. All this footage, all this, what happened after the stage, the podium, the feelings, the atmosphere. Man, I'm happy that what happened in my life. I'm really proud of it.
Well, you're right, brother. And we have talked about that, I think, a few episodes ago. No matter what has transpired since then, and we all know the story and how it rolled out. But this was my point, right? These memories and the emotions associated with those memories, you can never erase. And for us, we were there in the trenches with 200 other guys. You can't take it away. And our fans and cycling fans also have memories associated with this. And so, boy, I tell you, we would have gotten to the Cobbles, we would have gotten to the team time trial, and we'd have gotten the bus. And imagine if you could just bottle up that emotion and that confidence. That's what you're talking about, Eki, that, you'd be a billionaire, right? It was just such a position of power and strength and euphoria that amazing memories.
It's completely amazing. I can say, it's been already 15 years ago. I was managed a huge team, Katyusha, for 4 years. We won Milan-San Remo, we won some other classics, we won some stages at Tour de France, etc., etc. But as a team, I would say a team manager, I never had such a feelings which I had going through Tour de France with Blue Train, with Lance, with Johan in the car, with Georgie Hampi, with my teammates. That was never happened in the last 15 years. And sorry to say, but it's probably will never happen again. Something something that you can compare. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm happy, I'm proud that I've been living through this and I have this in my mind. So I can transmit it to the young riders. I can motivate the young guys what it could be if they do this and this and this.
Yeah.
Really thanks for that.
That's a great point, Eki. I know there was some discussion with whether or not we wanted to highlight this stage in particular. It wasn't a mountain stage, but in my opinion, and I think you would agree, that Roubaix stage and the team time trial, that's exemplifies what a team is and how a team can work together strong, and how Johan took so much time and spent so much energy on building a team like that, because if you don't have that in the Tour de France, it doesn't matter how good of a climber you are or a time trialer, you need guys like you to be able to keep the GC guy in the front.
Exactly. And you cannot fuck up, if it's Lance on the wheel, so I better suffer. I better do something else in the evening, but I know I cannot do anything else instead of taking care of a leader, of a yellow jersey. And this pushing you, this motivating you, this keeping you up in the front position, and then you don't calculate. Where is my teammates? Where is Victor Hugo Peña? Hey, come on, Victor, come, help me. No, you're just going, you're just pulling, and you think about one thing: how the yellow jersey feel like right now. Is it comfortable? Is it not dangerous? I'm like stable on the bike. Because I remember
you make it sound very easy.
Yeah. No, because I remember also we were going a few stages, like mountain stages. We would take me, if I will survive over the top and Josh was there, we were taking a team to descent. And Lars was saying me once, "Hey, we have a problem with you." I say, "What? You are too fast on the corner. You don't have a brakes, or you don't use your brakes." I said, "Lance, I try to be very smooth on the bike. I know there is a team behind me. I never take a risk, but if I don't crash, believe me, nobody gonna crash." I remember that conversation, especially on the tour before.
We always got yelled at going down the hill. We always got yelled at going down the hill. with Lance. Why are you going so fast? Slow down. We're fine. Always. Yeah. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, you're making me sound. You're minimizing my. I had some stuff to do with these wins, but yeah, I was always a little nervous. I didn't want to crash on it down. That would be. Anyways, you guys are legends. Eki, you're a fucking monster. You were a legend before I ever met you. And I was, I don't know. It's funny. You talk about Katusha, this younger generation. I hope these kids know what it was like to understand just how legendary Ekimov was. And hopefully they can remember that, maybe go back and watch some YouTube videos, but to then bring it full circle, bring it into the team, and then the circle keeps coming because here we still are. Brother.
And but not to forget 3 golden medals in the Olympics, and now having been a champion as a cyclist, a team manager, now president of the Russian Cycling Federation. Let's mention that. So obviously, it's somebody that any young cyclist should look up to and listen to.
Yeah, you know what Eki is not, and never will be, is a pannekuchen. Ever.
Thank you.
All right, boys. Hey, Eki, thanks for calling in. That's all I got. Do you guys have more? I think
thanks, Eki. It's great to see you.
That's it.
Okay, guys. I hope one day we come together and we share the beer and we share all the stories and we have a good time, a great time.
We've talked about making a little documentary. Johan and I have kicked it around. We pick 8 or 9 guys. We go to France. We pick maybe 5 to 7 key stages, and we just make a little film. And
when Corona lets us to, yeah.
Well, that's right.
For me, that's another motivation to keep me going the bike. So you see, I'm still fit. I'm doing my 90 kilometers in 3 hours. I was able to do 90 kilometers right myself.
Whoa. With
135 average heartbeat. So I'll be there. And you're not gonna be how to say this? My English getting short now.
They won't have to wait for you.
No. I'm not gonna embarrass you. Okay.
we know that. Yeah, that's for sure.
All right, boys.
Okay, guys.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And again, this is the 7-part of the Best of the Blue Train.